Also understand the need to keep the economy going, to keep providing for our families, and quite frankly, we know how to do that best.
We need our life back. We want to be able to work.
There's a lot of people that are hurting, not just people that are getting sick from this virus, but people that are, their entire livelihoods are being upended by this.
Many of those protesters saying in the virus, not the economy. Let's bring in Dan Bongino, Fox News contributor, former Secret Service agent, former NYPD officer, author, and he has a podcast. Good morning to you, Dan.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Good to see you, too. I know. We've missed you. So we wanted to bring you in because some of these protests are going to take place in your state, down in Florida. There are 10 different states where these protests will take place today alone. What do you make of that? And what side? Do you see both sides, or are you leaning in one direction?
Well, Ainsley, rarely has there been a topic I've been so passionate to get on the air and discuss than this. Of course I see both sides. I have a family and I have 2 children myself. I have a mother-in-law and 2 parents that are still alive that obviously I care deeply about. My mother herself is in an extremely high-risk category. If she were to contract this, it could be deadly. But Ainsley, I have to feed my kids, too. So does everybody around me. You know, and I watched that clip before the break of Nancy Pelosi seemingly confused about what protesters were doing. Well, let me enlighten you, Nancy, because you seem to be living in an insulated $25,000 freezer ice cream bubble, and you don't get it. Here it is, plain and simple. People have to feed their families. These are smart Americans who are intelligent. They understand there's a risk. They live with risk every day. If you need to understand that, Nancy, go talk to a construction worker on a construction site down the block that is living with multi-million-dollar equipment that could kill him in a minute. If you tell him or her on that site, you're going to need to wear a mask. There are precautions. We may have to wear some kind of hand protection, wash our hands often, and we may have to distance, but you'll be able to go to work and feed your kids. I promise you, the entrepreneurial, brave American citizens will figure it the hell out. Get out of your bubble. People have to feed their kids. That is what's going on right now.
This has been a wonderful experience, wonderful first podcast, wonderful first everything. And the final video that I want to talk about is this video with Dan Bongino. And it's very interesting because of various things, but I know I've said interesting a lot already. But I mean, what else? Amusing, intriguing, attention grabbing, like what else words are there to see? It's just like, look at this and just examine it and try to take information from it. Like, it's very hard to explain things to people or just try to put emphasis on anything when people like seemingly deny all of reality. When it comes to things like politics, like they really think that it's okay not to care even a smidgen about who these people are, what they're doing in our country, how hypocritical they are. Like this video is significantly old. This is like a year-old video. I'm fiddling with my hat, but this is like a year-old video, and it's crazy because it's gotten just worse and worse and worse. Like, Nancy Pelosi's been tripping forever. And I think I didn't rewatch this video, but I already watched it. All these videos are from my Facebook. You should definitely check it out, Logical Pharaoh. Go to the Facebook and definitely check it out. I post a lot of different things. I keep like more current, up-to-date things. I'm just going throughout this year. I'm just going to keep on doing podcasts like this because these things relate directly to right now. And a lot of times these things get lost in just like all the news that are going on, and people don't like bring it back and correlate things like that. So I just wanted to start my podcast like this. It's kind of weird that it's not like about current events and like current things that are happening, but it's good in a way because it doesn't really matter so much because these things are still very relevant. So Dan Bongino is saying, it says, Bongino to Pelosi, get out of your bubble. People need to feed their families. So this video, I'm assuming, if I remember correctly, you guys should watch it. Link in the description. Watch it. So it's very interesting. because she's such a crazy old lady. Like, she's literal. Like, if you examine her, if you just really just look, because like sometimes you'll be looking at these people, like I'll see their interviews and their speeches, and I literally just think that they're just like the craziest sounding, craziest looking people. Like, she just looks like she's always just like wide eyes, just crazy, just trembling, just with seething, just like, it's just like, what in the world is going on? And then they're so out of touch with reality and just like everyday people. They're out of touch with everything. Like, Nancy Pelosi by far is just completely out of touch with just all reality. And it was just funny because they shut down the government. People are suffering. She pulls out friggin' ice cream out of like a $20,000 friggin' fridge. And she's like, ooh, look at my ice cream. Blah, like, acting crazy as hell. And then even up until now, like recently, we're talking about the second and third stimulus and things like that. And the stimulus, it's crazy because like the stimulus, the whole argument took them forever since the first one. And nothing's really, like, they haven't really been putting out too much stimulus to the public when you really think about it. Like, the corporations get billions, and then we get, after, like, what they calculated it was like some crazy low amount per month that they wanted to give to us right now in a lump sum, when all of these months pass without a stimulus. And it's just like they're giving us like some crazy like $10-11 per month, something ridiculous, like 20-30. I don't remember exactly the math, but it's some incredibly low amount per month of the lockdown that people have been losing financially from. So it's like they really haven't given that much stimulus to the general public. Like, the stimulus checks were dope when they first came out, but it's interesting that they haven't done it again, like, in such a long time. And they put out 600 now, but then when you think about it, like, now they're talking about 1,400. They could have all done that in one, and Nancy Pelosi is the main person blocking these things. So it's crazy that from then till now, it's still insanity, and she's still in the way. And it just, yeah, she's very out of touch human. I dislike Nancy Pelosi very much. I don't believe that she should be in office at all. And I think there should be term limits. Like, term limits make sense. People will be like, no, why do you want term limits? Oh, and they don't understand. Sorry about the rendition. But it's just like, you get sick of hearing people like not understanding, like, that these people will be in office for 40-50 years, do minimally nothing for the country, and just still stay in office some way, somehow. But we're not supposed to talk about Dominion systems and other systems and other different electoral mishappenings, because people will be like, oh man, you're election denier or whatever, you're crazy. But honestly, just look at how much evidence and news from Trump's side, Trump's perspective, rather than the CNN perspective, which is there's no evidence and blah, 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 even though in previous elections there have been found to be evidence of such events. So it's really interesting. Definitely check it out. This video just is another but exclamation on the feeling that Nancy Pelosi and these leaders that are in the government, like Mitch McConnell, these people have very little to do, very little care in their head for the American person, American people, or just people in general. I really don't think they care about anybody but themselves. And it's just proven because Nancy Pelosi will come out and just say like, hey, I've done things for political gain. I've done not pass stimulus bills and not just do common sense legislation from any type of thing that Trump wanted to do, like things that they're doing now. It's just very silly that we have to keep on going in circles with these people, and it's just very silly that no one really is like up in arms. I'm not saying like actually like up in arms, but just frustrated about this stuff. Like you I don't understand. Like it bothers me to like my core, like these people are really sitting there making decisions for me, and just everything around me, and it's just very irritating to me because it feels powerless, and especially it feels powerless if you're a Trump supporter, because the Trump supporters, they went out and voted, and if you're a Trump supporter, not just because you're a Trump supporter, you believe his claims, but if you actually just looked at the legit research and the legit claims from dozens of people and then teams of people and then whole states, like, did people not see that whole, like 10 states, 16 states came back in the Texas lawsuit against the other states that they held their elections irresponsibly, and they had affidavits, thousands, and they had all this research and all these data analysis and all this stuff, and then people really think that it's that they're crazy and these claims are crazy and all this stuff, and it's hard to really feel like you count and that you matter when there's people who are in charge of you, like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and just people that are just seem anti-human in general, because they just do nothing for real people and just like do nothing that makes any logical sense for the American person. It seems like they're in their own political bubble and they're doing what they want to do to better for their life and their existence, rather than the people who they're supposed to be helping out. Like, there's 380 million of us in America. Like, these people literally legit think about themselves only. And then it feels like your voice is not heard, especially when election things happen, and nobody wants to look at the evidence. Nobody wants to just check it out or just see if any of these claims are correct, because I feel like it's like you stole something and you don't want them to look at the videotapes. It's just like, oh, just believe in my integrity. Or I'm just a random guy walked off the street. Believe in my integrity. And you're supposed to just believe them, and you are supposed to trust in government, though. Like, you are supposed to be like, oh yeah, government's dope, they love us, they govern us, we vote for them, blah blah blah. But time and time again, they fail and miss the mark, and it's really crazy. But watch this video, be informed.